Your fears may never come.
Hey folks, welcome to Mixing Like a Producer. I'm Natasha Branch, and today we're going to take a look at a few techniques we can use to strengthen transitions. Let's get started. We're going to be using a track called Broken Man by Speak Softly. You can find them at facebook.com/speaksoftlyrecords or at speaksoftly.bandcamp.com. And if you're interested in mixing this song yourself, you can find the full multi-track in Mike Sr.'s free library at cambridge-nt.com. Broken Man is an ambient electronic track, and there's a lot of good material in it, but the handoffs from section to section could use a bit of help. So I'm going to show you a few simple techniques using the existing elements of this track that can really help to propel the song forward. Here we are at the top of the track, and we have a very simple intro. It's just a drum loop and a lead vocal. Let's go ahead and have a listen.
Unwinding us like string, cut away the rod, weeding out the thorn.
So you can hear there are a couple of new elements introduced at the start of the first verse. We've got this piano, and we've got a pad sound. It's that Rhodes there. And they really help the song build, but I think that the transition could use a bit more momentum. One of the simplest but most effective ways to set up a new section for increased impact is to create a brief dropout. That generally works best with a significant element like bass or drums, but it'll work with any element that the listener is going to immediately feel missing. In this case, I only have two elements in the intro. I've got the drum loop and I've got the lead vocal. Obviously, the lead vocal needs to stay, so I'm going to create a dropout in my drum loop. So I'm going to create, let's do a 1-bar dropout. Okay, so I'm going to use tab to transient here to make a separation, and I'll just mute that bit, and I'm going to create a fade out just so we don't have any clicks. And let's hear how that sounds.
Unwinding us like string, cut away the rod.
So that sounds okay, but I want that to sound a bit more dramatic, so I'm actually going to reverse a portion of the drum loop so that it sort of swells to a stop. So I'm going to unmute this bit here from earlier. Let's zoom in and find a spot we can reverse. Now, looking at the waveform, I think this might be a nice place for build. So let's go ahead and separate that. And I'll just delete the portion I don't want to use. And now I'm going to use the Audio Suite reverse on this clip. So with the clip selected, I'll hit render. And now we have reversed our drum clip here. So let me solo this and let's take a listen. Okay, cool. I think that'll sound good. So let's go ahead and we'll pull this clip back. And we can, again, we'll create a crossfade here just so we don't have any clicks. And let's go ahead and listen to that.
Unwinding us like string, cut away the rod.
All right, we're getting there. I still think that the transition could use some harmonic support. The style of this production, it's relatively minimal, so I don't want to import a bunch of new stuff. I don't want to program a lot of new elements. So I'm going to take an existing part of this multi-track, and then I'm going to create a swell leading into the first verse. So I know that I've got this piano part, and there's sort of this single note that trails off, and I think I can create a nice reverse piano effect with that. So using Option click, I'm just going to drag this down to an existing track. And again, I'm going to use that audio suite reverse. And let's have a listen. All right, cool. So I'm going to zoom in there. And this is going to take a little bit of trial and error. But what I like to do is figure out how long I want that swell to be. If it's going to be half a bar, 2 bars, I'll go ahead and start the swell there and adjust everything else accordingly. So I've got this full bar here. My swell starts there at bar 8. And I can see that it runs over a little bit, but that might not be an issue. Let's go ahead and have a listen to that transition.
It's like string, cut away the rod.
Okay, so the start of that swell is a bit abrupt, so I'm actually going to use just a fade in to try to shape that. We could also use level automation, but in this case, I think a fade in will work pretty well. And also towards the end here, again, that's sort of distracting. So let me go ahead and pull this back, and I'm going to do a fade out again here.
It's like string, cut away the rod.
And if I wanted to, I could adjust this so that the fade is a little bit faster. But, that's sort of up to you. But I kind of like how that is now. I do have one more idea. I'm actually going to unbypass this crystallizer effect from Sound Toys just to hear what that sounds like. It's being used later on in the track on this piano, but I think it might be a nice addition to our swell.
Cut away the rod.
So yeah, it's just kind of a nice delay, and it sort of naturally decays now. The swell naturally decays into the verse. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that as it is. But I do have one more idea to sort of punctuate the end of this introduction. I think the end of that vocal phrase, cut away the rod, I think it's calling for some sort of an effect. So I'm going to use Sound Toys Alter Boy to create a pitched effect on just the words the rot. So here I have already created a lead vocal effect track, and this is an audio track. What I'm going to do is just isolate the words that I want to affect, and I'm going to drag them down here. So let me solo my lead vocal, and I'm going to find the rot.
Cut away the rot.
So it looks like it starts around here. So I'm going to separate the clip there, and holding Option to create a copy and Control to constrain the timing of this clip, I'm just going to drag this down into my vocal effects track. And so here we have just the vocal effect. And let me go ahead and open up Little Alter Boy, and I'll show you what I've done here. So it sounds like this. Okay, and this is just sort of a driven pitch effect. I've pulled the pitch down an octave, so that's -12 semitones. And I've actually left the format closer to the original. If I pull it down here, it's a bit more devil than I'd like. So I'll push that back up to around -3, 3.5. And I've got a bit of drive here, and the mix is all the way up to 100% because I don't want that original vocal in this track. So let's go ahead and hear the combination of all these things I've done.
Unwinding us like string, cut away the rod.
And we've got a clip there, so let's go ahead and I'm going to heal that original separation I made. And let me make sure I've got my fade in, and I'll do a fade out. And let's listen to that again.
Unwinding us like string, cut away the rod.
I like that. So let's go back and listen to the introduction leading into the verse. I'm going to start with the original, and then I'll play it back with the new edits.
Unwinding us like string, cut away the rod. Winding us like string, cut away the rod. Weeding out the thorns, unraveling the knot.
So there it is. You don't have to have a massive sample library, and you don't have to spend hours programming new material. I did use some Sound Toys plugins here, but you can get similar results with stock plugins. Remember, sometimes the simplest solutions are the best. That's it for now. A special thanks to Speak Softly. For more videos like this, subscribe and check out natashabranch.com. Keep mixing.